Why do so many people make the decisions with the mind rather than the body?
Well, to get a little bit historical on you, if you think about where humanity has been for the last couple hundred years, right? It has been a lot of top-down sort of control. And a population is easier to convince you all to go to war and to, do certain things. If this is the logic, we all have to agree on the logic. There's one objective reality. Let's all get on the same page, rather than there is no objective reality. We're all just here bumping up against
Randomly,
each other, doing our random things. That's a nightmare, right? For a society.
Got to be some order and some organization somewhere, right?
Yeah. But when you think about it, then the people who are in government are supposed to be the people who are very good at coming up with common laws. They're very good at people who are being balanced, who are being fair, who come up with how people interact and come together, but giving people their freedom. So when you're trying to suppress a culture with a religious homogenized belief, then there is this thing that is logic that gets handed down to us, that you have to do what makes sense to other people. And that's how you get your love and belonging from the tribe, is by justifying that what you're doing is for the same reasons that everyone else would want to do the same things.
So how can women specifically make better decisions in choosing the right male partner for them if they want to choose a male partner?
Yes.
How can women choose better in relationships?
This is going to sound a little crazy, but one of the other big conditionings that we have is that we have to make the right decision that we ensure is going to make our relationship last forever, and that's a good relationship. What you actually want from that is to feel the most amount of love, right? You want to be in love and in the energy of love every single day of your life. So from that perspective, whether that changes 20 times or once doesn't really matter. So for me, that relationship was correct for as long as it lasted, because it grew the amount of love I had in my life.
Oh, that's great.
Until my emotions started telling me otherwise.
Oh.
And am I better off because of that relationship? Am I more open-hearted because of that relationship? Am I more happy with who I am? Yes, right? So that was not a terrible relationship. That was life showing me that was a perfect amount for it to last.
Oh, okay.
So a big thing to get rid of is I have to know how my future is going to look in order for me to be happy.
Right.
Actually, you just need to be happy today. And then your tomorrow will start off better, and that will compound. And then it doesn't matter about the form that it takes, because the inside is going to be more actualized, more evolved, more in love, more open-hearted, more all the things that we actually want, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it comes from kind of letting go of this guarantee to micromanage how the life is going to unfold for you to think of how it needs to look for you to be happy, and to do the happiness today, and then to trust that that's what activates the rest of the work, the 90% of the unseen forces kind of coming together to make things happen the way that we can't engineer, like opportunities, synchronicities, meeting people out of nowhere, stuff that we couldn't even do if we were the best minds in the planet, right?
There's something to choosing to being positive and happy and grateful for certain elements of your life and trying to maximize that. Because when we maximize that energy, synchronicities unfold, right? These unseen forces for good show up in our life, or they block us from something bad potentially happening, right? Or they move us in a different direction. But why do you think there are certain people who seem to have it all, but are still choosing to be unhappy and not choosing to be grateful for what they have? They're complaining or feeling entitled for what they don't have. Why do you think that happens?
I think that's one of those things where there's many different causes for one symptom, right? So on the outside, this person you're saying is ungrateful or unhappy. The number one reason I would say is that if you haven't liked who you've become along the way of getting to what you want, then that's never going to be a happy result, right? You can't get to joy if you don't pave it along the way with feeling like you love being who you are. And you've probably been in situations like this in your life before, where maybe things are hitting the fan, but you still love the fact that you have your own back through it. And there's this incredible piece of like, okay, well, we're on this adventure of life. The soul wants to experience everything. Let's lean into this, knowing that I think I'm going to make sure that I'm okay, right? And that weirdly transforms even the most negative experiences into these like fascinations. And I think if you don't know how to do that, then that's already a big, that really takes away from your happiness. The second thing is also that, again, the brain is addicted to finding something to focus on, right? And it could be being focused on creativity, but when it's turned inwards, it's going to look for problems. It's going to look for unhappiness. That's what's going to happen when you let it run amok in an area that it's not supposed to run amok in. And the third one is, I think, is an addiction that we're being programmed with from the outside conditioning of, you should find reasons to be unhappy, or you grew up around people who were that way, and you need to decondition from that automatic pattern that, again, like you were saying in the beginning with your parents, that condition you. Even if they weren't doing it on purpose, it's passed down until you have to be the one that says, you know what, let me not just decide to be rid of it, but let me practice being rid of it today. How would I move through my day when I catch this thing come in and I go, what else would I do instead? And you might feel like an imposter the first time you do it because it's not going to feel natural.
Right.
But even if you can just flex it slightly, the universe goes, oh, look who's trying to be more themselves. Let me go help this person out.
What was the thing you had to decondition over the last 10 years that was running your life the most?
I think the emotional piece is a really big piece. And this is, like I said to you, 50% of the population are what's called emotional beings. So you're what's called non-emotional, meaning when you're by yourself, you're cool, calm, and collected. It's only when the world comes to you, or when people come to you, or a situation comes to you, that you feel a certain way. When you're emotional, you can wake up and be happy and feel on top of the world. Same exact situation the next day, and you feel totally different. And for me, I was really brought up when I was in a low mood. What's wrong with you? Why are you upset? Smile. Don't be a sport brat. I'm English, right? So don't be a sport brat. And for me, it was a real judgment about having negative emotions. And I still struggle with it today. I'm not rid of it by any stretch of the imagination. I just am more aware of it, so I have levity around when I'm doing it to myself.
Gotcha. So you're emotional. I'm non-emotional.
You're non-emotional.
So explain that again, someone who's emotional versus non-emotional.
Yeah. So you don't generate your own emotions. You are like a mirror and a sponge to the world around you. So this actually, when we talk about people who are empaths, we really are talking about, in a strict version, we're talking about non-emotionals, because you're able to feel what I'm feeling. Because I have my own emotional roller coaster going on, I'm actually not able to viscerally tap into your emotions.
As an emotional person.
As an emotional person.
A non-emotional person, I can understand your emotions.
You can feel my emotions.
That resonates. I feel like I can feel everyone's energy.
Yes.
And something that I saw on your Instagram, when you were talking about empaths, you said we shouldn't be absorbing, we should be observing.
Yes.
That's something you said recently. Don't absorb others' emotions, observe.
Observe, yes.
And I think that's interesting because empaths take on the weight of anyone around them.
Yeah.
And they feel it, and they feel emotionally drained where they have no energy if they absorb it.
Yeah.
So it's learning to notice someone's energy and still be empathetic, but don't absorb it, right?
Yes.
Observe,
Yes.
connect, but don't let it penetrate your energy center. Don't let it penetrate your soul to where you're now in that state of being as well.
Yes.
That's a hard thing for a lot of people who are in that non-emotional empath state of being.
Yeah, it is. And it's an interesting one to understand that, when you're not absorbing my stuff, you would be able to show me what I'm feeling, because I'm so mired in it, I have no idea what's going on some of the time. So you would magnify and be able to show me what's going on with me if you're not then taking it on. There's certain people who they're really full on and then they need to disappear. And then they're at 200% and then they disappear.
More introverted individuals that want to be by themselves or whatever.
Right, exactly. So
how many energy types are there?
There's 5.
Okay, what are those?
So you have generators, manifestors, manifesting generators,